Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from Group 8 and our members are Prawita Ayu Ramadhani, Yuliana Dwi Astuti, Ismanur Atika, and Sinta Desfitri Ningrum. Now, we are going to discuss about rising and controls construction. Rising and control predicates. There are several significant differences which motivate known as control and rising verbs. A. Control verbs and adjectives like try, hope, eager, persuade, promise, etc. B. Rising verbs and adjectives like seem, appear, happen, likely, certain, believe, expect, and etc. Verbs like try are called control or equiverbs, where subject is understood to be equivalent to the unexpressed subject of the infinitival verb phrase. In linguistic terminology, the subject of the verb is said to control the subject of the infinitival complement. For example, John tries to fix the computer. Let us consider the deep structure of John tries for John to fix the computer, representing unexpressed subject of the verb phrase complement of tries. As shown here, in this sentence, it is John who does the action of fixing the computer. In the original transformational grammar approach, this deep structure would be proposed and then undergo a rule of equivalent non-phrase deletion, in which the second non-phrase, John, would be deleted to produce the output sentence. This is why such verbs have the label of equiverbs. Meanwhile, verbs like seems are called rising verbs. Consider the deep structure of seems John to fix the computer. In order to derive the survey structure, John to fix the computer, subject John needs to be raised to the metric subject position marked by rectangle. This is why verbs like seem are called rising verbs. Deep structure. Deep structure linked to survey structure is a theoretical construct and abstract level of representation that seeks to unify several related observed forms and played an important role in the transformational grammar of the 20th century. Differences between rising and control verbs. Subject rising and control. The semantic role of the subject. Let us compare the following examples. There are two examples here. A. John tries to be honest. B. John seems to be honest. This might have paraphrase as follows. A. John makes efforts for himself to be honest. B. It seems that John is honest. As represented in its paraphrase in 7b, the situation that the verb seems describe is not about the individual John, but it is rather about the proposition that John is honest. Due to this difference, we say that a control verb like try assign a semantic role to its subject, the agent role, whereas a rising verb seem doesn't assign any semantic role to its subject.
Expletive subjects. Since the raising verb doesn't assign a semantic role to its subject, certain expressions which do not have a semantic role or any meaning may appear in the subject's position. Such items include the expletive it or there. For example, A. It tends to be warm in September. B. It seemed to bother Kim that they resigned. The situation is markedly different with control verbs. For example, 9. A. It or there tries to be warm in September. B. It or there helps to bother Kim that they resign. Since control verbs like try and help requires their subject to have an agent role, an expletive it or there, which takes no semantic role, cannot function as their subjects. We can observe the same contrast with respect to raising and control adjective. For example, 10. A. It or John is easy to please Maja. B. John or it is eager to please Maja. Since the rising adjective easy don't assign any semantic role to its subject, we can have it as its subject. On the other hand, the control adjective eager assign a role and thus doesn't allow the expletive it as its subject. Subcategorization. If we look into what determines the subject properties, we can see that in rising construction, it isn't the rising verb or adjective, but the infinitival complements predicate which determines the characteristic of the subject. In rising constructions, the subject of the rising predicate is selected as the subject of the complement verb phrase. Observe the following contrast. For example, 11. A. Stephen seemed to be intelligent. B. It seems to be easy to fool Ben. C. There is likely to be a letter in the mailbox. D. Tabs are likely to be kept on participants. In the sense of the participants will be spied on. For example, 12. A. There seem to be intelligent. B. John seems to be easy to fool Ben. C. John is likely to be a letter in the mailbox. D. John is likely to be kept on participant.
For example, the verb phrase to be intelligent requires an animate subject, and this is why 11a is fine but 12a is not. Meanwhile, the verb phrase to be easy to fool Ben requires the expletive it as its subject. This is why John cannot be the subject in 12b. The contrast in C and D is similar. The verb phrase to be a letter in the mailbox allows its subject to be there. There is a letter in the mailbox, but not John. The verb phrase to be kept on participants requires a subject which must be the word tabs in order to induce an idiomatic meaning. In raising construction, whatever category is required as the subject of the infinitival verb phrase is also required as the subject by the higher verb phrase. Hence, the instituents of raising. The requirement for the subject passes up to the higher predicate. However, for control verb, there is no direct selectional relation between the subject of the main verb and that of the infinitive verb phrase. In this, the control verb or adjective itself which fully determines regardless of what the infinitive verb phrase would require as its subject. A counter predicate requires its subject to be able to bear the semantic role of agent.
Selection boundary closely relate to the difference in the selection of subject type. Subcategorization frame represent in terms of factor of the VAL valence. They are syntax themselves, but the verb also impose the constraints of semantic selection on their subject sorting. 13. A king thanks the man. B. The king thanks the one. C. The king thanked the deer. D. The castle thanks the deer. What we can observe here is that the subject of the verb rise and carry the choice boundary of the subject of the VP, which is obscure. This in turn means that the subject of the VP infinitive is the subject of the adverb verb. The meaning of preservation.
The idiom whose meaning is specially composed of the part with the range the meaning even though a part of a part as the subject of the uplifting verb. 14. The cat seems to have come out the bag. In the sense the secret is out. B. The cat tries to get out of the bag. In the rising example 14e, the meaning of the idiom "the cat is out of the bag" is retained. However, cite the counterverb tries a semantic rule to its subject, the cat. The cat must be the one doing the action of trying, and there is no idiomatic meaning. Next, object raising and control. Similar differences were found between what is known as object engagement and control predicate. 15. A. Seven beliefs been sought be careful. B. Stephen persuades Bean to be careful. Again, these two verbs are similar in syntax. They are combined with NP and infinitival VP complement. However, the two differ in terms of property of NP object in relation to the rest of the structure. One thing we can see here is that unlike believing, cajoling doesn't license the object of an expletive, like trying or not license an expletive. And in this case, the verb believe in similar doesn't see to a semantic rule and to this object.
The differences resurfaced in the preservation of idiomatic meanings. 16. A. Stephen was sure the cat was out of the bag. In the sense, Stephen believes his secret has been revealed. B. Stephen checks the cat to get out of the bag, while the idiomatic reading is maintained by the trusted uplifting verb. It is lost with control verb to persuade. The active-passive pair shows another contrast. 17a. The dentist is believed to have examined Pat. B. Pat is also believed to have been examined by the dentist. 18a. The dentist is persuaded to examine Pat. B. Pat is persuaded to be examined by a dentist. With the verb elevatus belief, there is no strong semantic difference in the example in 17. However, in 18, there is a clear difference in who is convinced. In 18a, it is dentist, but in 18b, it is Pat who is convinced. This is another piece of evidence that is believed to be increasing verb, whereas cooks is a control verb with respect to the object.
Okay everyone, it's all about our presentation today. Thank you for watching and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.